Greetings, Dr. Ben Rader here, and I'm at the Wisconsin School of Professional Psychology with President Dr. Kathleen Rusch, who's an expert in psychotherapy and has offered an opportunity to share with us today some perspectives on what it takes to have healthy, meaningful relationships. Dr. Rusch, you have stated that people's unstated needs can serve to derail meaningful connections. From your experience as a psychotherapist who has developed an expertise in human relationships, how do unstated needs impact upon relationships? And what is it that impedes upon meaningful connections when that happens?
Well, I believe that everybody is born with a need to connect emotionally, and that's a very strong need. And depending upon how caregivers react to that need, people can either develop strong, good, close, intimate relationships in childhood, which then carry forward into adulthood. If those needs for connection, however, are not treated with respect and care, people begin to become ashamed of those needs, and they begin to cover them up. They begin to develop behaviors that are designed to protect their vulnerability. And so these unstated needs for connection look very differently from the outside than what they really are on the inside. And because people are not being genuine in relationships, they're not able to connect in a genuine way. And that's, I think, where the unstated needs begin to develop into behavior that looks very different and therefore elicits very different responses from people in their world.
Interesting. So you've also suggested that psychotherapy can be an antidote for that loss of connection or the struggles that we have connecting with others. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Well, in an effective psychotherapy, the therapist is trying to see beneath the person's external behaviors and into the realm of the deep-seated psychological needs. And so, to the extent that that person is able to do that, then those needs are able to be touched, they're able to be awakened and brought forth without shame, without the person's need to try to defend against them or cover them up. And so the therapist can help the client understand how he or she blocks the meeting of those needs through some of this defensive behavior.
Interesting. And what are those components then that we need in a healthy psychotherapeutic relationship so that can happen, so those needs can be met?
I think the therapist has to be understanding, accepting. There has to be time which is nowadays sometimes a problem with shorter lengths of care. The relationship between the therapist and the client has to develop into one of trust and positive acceptance, where the client feels as though this person is accepting of them, is not going to be judgmental or harsh with them, so that they will feel comfortable trusting this individual with something that they have been very protective of through, in some cases, their entire lives.
Mm-hmm. You're talking about this process here of sharing and talking with another person, how that impacts upon someone's growth and development. I'm curious if you could just share a little bit more about how the process of two people talking, one talking and one listening, how does that contribute to healing, to the reduction of symptoms, and to recovery in general?
Well, in a well-functioning therapy relationship, the therapist communicates trustworthiness in many different ways. Some of them are verbal, in which they will say they understand, and they will put words to that, and in some cases it'll be nonverbal. In some cases they will simply nod their heads. They will not speak. Sometimes when a client perhaps expects a judgmental response, the therapist will not speak, indicating no judgment, no negative reaction to what the client is saying. And I think over time, the therapist communicates to the client that he or she is a safe vessel for these feelings that have been stored up all these years.
For the layperson out there, maybe the person who's just interested in having healthy, meaningful relationships, and wanting to promote wellness and health in others that they're close to, how can we, as humans in relationships, strive for happier, healthier relationships with those that we care about and who we interact with on a daily basis? Are there any general thoughts about what we need to do to have healthy relationships in our day-to-day life?
I would say the first thing is to be trustworthy ourselves, to be worthy of somebody trusting us with feelings that are potentially very powerful and very difficult and painful. That's probably where I would start. I think another thing is to be respectful of another person's needs and what might be underlying some of their external behaviors, to try to think about what might this person really be expressing and what might their needs be. Be open to discussing their relationship and things that, when you do this, it makes me feel a certain way, so that the whole area of feelings and emotions in relationships gets brought to the forefront and they're able to be discussed.